Welcome once again to this series of lectures on operations management. Today we have been talking about various types of layouts. So we have been talking about product layout. So product layout is a layout where the arrangement is as per customized as per the product. So if we see the formal definition on the slide, a product layout is an arrangement based on the sequence of operations that are performed during the manufacturing of a good or delivery of a service. Examples: winemaking industry, credit card processing, subway sandwich shops, paper manufacturers, insurance policy processing, automobile assembly lines, etc. So as we were discussing in our last series also, product layout are industries wherein the whole arrangement, the whole layout is customized for a product, to accommodate for a product. If you see a paper industry, so paper industry begins with logs of wood, they are cut in proper machines, and then there are hundreds of processes through which it undergoes, and finally the industry may be making 3 or 4 types of paper, but it's only customized for paper. You cannot manufacture anything else than that. So such kind of industries where there is a sequence, first, then second, then third, so there are processes. Once a product is at, say, stage number 4, it cannot backtrack, it cannot come back, it has to move in a direction, in a forward direction. So this direction may be horizontal, this direction may be a circular direction, this direction may be S-shaped direction. So the shapes could vary, but it follows a particular path. So for example, if we see on this slide, this raw material enters a premises of a facility, it goes to station 1, then after that, let's say there is a storage, and then it goes to station 2, again it comes to a storage, and from storage it comes to station 3, station 3 again there is a storage, then it comes to station 4, and then finally finished product is made and it is shipped to the customer. So it may be a zigzag process, it could adopt any shape, it could be a straight line, it could be a vertical line from top to bottom, from bottom to top. For example, if you go to a floor industry, there the processes start from the top floor, and then finally the refining of wheat takes place, and finally you get the final flour at the ground floor. Again, I'll show you this slide, product layout for a wine manufacturer. So here there is a product 1, it goes through mixing, then it goes to another process, and then finally it comes out. So there are 2 lines over there, blue line and red line. So for example, 2 types of wines are being made, but there is a process. So there is a sequence of events which is taking place. So such kind of layout is called product layout. So once the product starts, it cannot come back. So what are the advantages of product layout? Lower work in process inventories, shorter processing times, less material handling, lower labor skills, and simple production planning and control systems. So because a product is moving in a flow, in a continuous flow, so you will not have much work in process inventories, and the processing takes place in a predetermined fashion, and usually less material handling is there because you can even automate your plants. And because the work done is very consistent, a worker is suppose standing on a particular line, so he or she has to do the same work every day. So you may not require multi-skill people over there. And to plan for your production is also very easy. So you can plan your production, you can control your production systems easily over there. So these are some of the advantages. Let us see the disadvantages also. Product layout. A breakdown at one workstation can cause the entire process to shut down. A change in product design or the introduction of new products may require major changes in the layout, limiting flexibility. So, as I was referring earlier, that these product layouts are generally designed to customize for particular product. You cannot introduce any new product very easily. So, flexibility wise, it may be lacking. So, flexibility is less over there. And another disadvantage is that suppose there is a line going on, and if there is a breakdown at one point, so it will stall the production in the whole line. So, the whole production can come to a standstill. Sometimes there may be a very minor problem in the whole line, but your whole production can stall because of that. So, that is one of the major disadvantages. So, further you can say we have the list of further advantages and disadvantages. So, advantages, we are saying total flow time of the product from input stage to the output. There are 3 stages. Number A, it's a continuous flow without stoppages and storage. So, this is also a characteristic. This is also an advantage of a product layout. So, there is a continuous flow. Second, B part, we are saying it's a repetitive, small, fragmented jobs learned to perfection by the concerned worker. C, we are saying that minimum setups of machines. So, these are the advantages, but at the same time the disadvantages: number 1, none or very little variety is possible. Number 2, less flexibility to changes. Number 3, entire line or significant portions of the line may come to a halt if any equipment breaks down, resulting in high stoppage costs. So, whatever we are saying, it has been validated by this slide. So, again we will see other advantages and disadvantages. In advantages, production planning and control is simple. Then by balancing the line, labor utilization can be high and lower degree of skills in manpower required. So, these are some of the advantages which are self-explanatory. Disadvantages: larger maintenance staff is needed because there is a big line. Then very low job variety and therefore low job satisfaction and high boredom for workers. Then more coordination required by supervisors. So, these are some of the disadvantages, because a worker has to do a monotonous job in product layout. Further, we will see further advantages of product layout: better planning of raw materials resulting in lower inventory, then lower work in process inventory needed, then lower material handling costs. Whereas in disadvantages, higher capital investment due to duplication of equipment and machines, and more space may be required. So, many times like product layout requires heavy machinery. So, high investment is required. So, therefore, more space is also required. So, these become the disadvantages. So, product layout, therefore, we can say is a layout which is designed for a particular product. There are industries like chemical industries, fertilizer industry, food industry, milk industry. They are all based on product layouts. So, if you happen to see a milk industry, there is a process and it goes through a process and finally the finished product comes out. So, you cannot make any other product in a milk industry other than milk or milk products. Now, we will come to our second type of layout, which is known as process layout. What is a process layout? So, process layout basically is a layout which is which you have designed with respect to the processes involved, not with respect to product. You can make any product over there, but basically you have made the layout to install. Let us say there is a foundry at one place, there are department of lathe machines, there is a department of drilling machines, there is a department of welding. So all the welding equipments are at one place, all the lathes are at one place, all the drilling machines are at one place. So you can make any item over there. So that is called process layout. So let us see it by slide. So we are saying organization by functions and departments. Specific skills and facilities available in each department. So similar equipment are grouped together, associated with low volumes of production, and here the product is not standardized. So as we were talking about, that you have made your layout with respect to functions and with respect to departments. So this is the welding department, this is the drilling department. There is no set flow of the materials. So each department has got a specific skills, and similar kind of equipments are grouped together. So there is no standard products. For example, if you go in a typical engineering workshop, so there you can make any product, they will fabricate product for you. They can fabricate, they can weld say gates for you, they can weld any machinery for you, they can fabricate basically any kind of machinery to you. They will have sheet metal shop, they will have various kinds of lathe machines, drilling machines, shapers, milling machines, grinders, and so on. So therefore, let us see the formal definition of process layout. A process layout consists of a functional grouping of equipment or activities that do similar work. Examples: fabrication workshops, job work businesses, legal offices, shoe manufacturing, jet engine, turbine blades, hospitals, they all use a process layout. So, for example, we will see this slide once again, process layout of a job shop. Now here, for example, you have seen there is an office, there is a coffee machine in the office, then there is a department for milling machines. So all the milling machines are there in this department, in this workshop. Then there are drill presses, so all the drilling machines are over here. So then there is a department for plant maintenance, then there is a department for tool storage, then there is a department for boring machines, so all kinds of boring machines are over there. Then there is a paint booths, and then there is a welding shop. So whatever material you want to make, it can go through different paths, and then there is a final assembly. So therefore, there is no set route for the material. You can make all kinds of material over there because you have got different departments. So machines are arranged as per their specialization of the machines. So similar machines are grouped together. Whereas this was not the case in product layout. In the product layout, if you need, for example, drilling at first point and you need drilling at fifth point. So again, you will have to install a drilling machine at the fifth point because material cannot come back. So you have to organize the machines as per the flow of the product. But here the product can have different flows. So for example, if we see this slide, so there is a department of lathe machines, so all the lathe machines are there. There is a department for milling machines, MMM, all the milling machines are there, and there is a department for say drilling machine. Finally, there is a assembly a point. So for example, there are different colors of lines. So some materials come to the lathe machine and then they go to the milling, and then they go to the drilling, and then they go to the assembly. But there is another material, another product which straight away may come to milling machine, and from milling it may not require drilling machine. It may just go to the grinding machine, and from grinding it may go to the assembly section. So as per the requirement of different products, they can follow different rules. So routes. So all these lines are showing, these different colors of lines are showing different routes required for manufacturing of different products. So again this slide, machining. So a blue line comes from machining to fabrication, to welding, to heat treatment, to finishing. A red line starts from machining it doesn't require fabrication, it goes to sheet cutting, then it goes to welding, and then it goes to finishing. So therefore, idea is that in process layout, the layout is arranged with respect to the process, and different products can assume different routes, right? So what are the advantages of a process layout? The advantages of process layout: a lower investment in equipment, the diversity of jobs inherent in a process layout can lead to increased worker satisfaction, but the disadvantages are that high movement and transportation costs, more complicated planning and control systems, longer total processing time, higher in-process inventory or waiting time, and higher worker skill requirements. So here, it's opposite to product layout. In product layout, we saw that you need a higher investment, but here one can start a business with a lower investment also in equipments, and there are diversity of jobs. For example, let me take a very simple example from your day-to-day lives. You must have stitched your clothes from a tailor. So you give your cloth to a tailor. So tailor has got a similar process layout. So this tailor has got one department of sewing machines, then another you can say room or department for putting the buttons, making of collars. So accordingly, you want to make him a shirt, you want him to make your trouser or whatever, some ladies' clothes, children clothes. So he can make a lot of variety. And in shirts and trouser also you can specify what kind of design, what kind of measurements you want to make. So therefore there is a lot diversity of jobs that he can make. And in this swing of clothes, there can be a product layout also. If there is an industry which is making ready-made garments, so it has got a set kind of shirts and trousers to be made. So they can adopt this product layout. But a typical tailor, he is doing a job work. So accordingly, he has a process layout. And so the disadvantages are high movement and transportation cost, because sometimes there is a material which does not require buttons. In some shirts you require button. Suppose tomorrow you want to make a kurta, so it will have a few buttons then in comparison to a shirt. So therefore different products requirements are there. So different movement of the material is required within the departments. So once again we'll try to elaborate the advantages and disadvantages of process layout. So in advantages we are saying very high degree of variety in products. Number 2, flexibility and adaptability to changes is high, which we have just discussed. Number 3, machine breakdowns do not cause crippling production stoppages. Then disadvantages: higher flow times of products due to A, intermittent flow of the material, numerous machine setups, then production planning and control is complex, more paperwork is required, and worker skill need to be high. So this is what we were talking about. So this is just opposite to the product layout. So here you need more worker skills because the new kinds of work is required. So you have to plan your production accordingly. So production planning and control becomes complex relative to product layout. Further, we will see what are the advantages of process layout. It requires small maintenance staff, then good level of variety, skills requirement, and therefore higher job satisfaction to the people. Then coordination and supervision is simpler as the processes are simpler. And disadvantages are higher inventory of raw materials is needed, higher work in process inventory due to storage necessity, and more handling of materials. So whatever we are saying is being validated by our slides. So we are saying that disadvantages, what were the advantages of product layout, they become the disadvantage of process layout. So you need higher inventory of raw materials because you need to work on different kinds of product, different types of variety, because your layout is with respect to processes, not with respect to products. And each kind of product which you have to manufacture may follow a different route, may follow a different pattern of manufacturing, etc. So let us see this diagram of layout types. So here we are comparing the product and process layout. The top diagram is an example of process layout. For example, job shop. So for example, there is a grinding department, forging department, lathe department, drilling department, welding department, painting department, milling machines, foundry. So for example, there could be a material with blue lines starting from foundry going to milling machines, and there could be another material which starts from foundry in a red line going to lathe and going to grinding. So different paths, different routes. Whereas in product layout, we are trying to show a production line. A product moves from station 1 to station 2 to station 3 and then station 4. So there is a definite path, there is a horizontal line. So every time the product, you are making similar kinds of products, so every time it follows the same route. But in process layout, you can make a large variety of products, and each time the variety of product may not require a particular route. Now, what is the third kind of layout? The third kind of layout is known as hybrid layout. So it's a combination of product layout and process layout. We also call it as a cellular layout or group technology layout. Facilities clubbed together in cells, high flexibility, each cell performs similar type of functions for a group of products. Now what happens? Let us say your basic layout is a process layout, wherein you have got different departments. There is a lathe department, there is a drilling department, there is a grinding department, there is a foundry department. But within this process layout, there are certain processes which you need to do very regularly on a consistent basis. For example, after doing some welding, you need drilling also at the same time. So if you are getting a continuous order of a particular product, and wherein after each welding you need drilling, then again you need to do welding, then again you need to do drilling, then every time from welding department your material goes to the drilling department, then it also comes back to the welding department. So it is going back and forth from one department to the other. So it will waste a lot of time. It will also cost you, because a lot of material handling is there. So it is better that you create a product layout within that welding department. So you have some drilling machines, so you do one welding, then you do drilling, then again you do welding, then again you do some drilling, and then you do say some grinding. So you can create a small product line within a process layout. So when you have created a small product layout within the process layout, that is known as a cell. You have created a product layout cell within the broad structure of a process layout. So let us see the formal definition of the cellular layout. In a cellular layout, the design is not according to the functional characteristics of equipment, but rather by self-contained groups of equipment called cells needed for producing a particular set of goods or services. For example, we have including services also like legal services, such as labor law, bankruptcy, divorce, medical specialties such as maternity, oncology and surgery. Now one of the very good example is hospitals. Hospitals may have a process layout. For example, there is a pathology department, there is an X-ray department, but within let's say there is an oncology department. Within oncology you require some X-rays also, you require some pathology also. So instead of making the customer go in a large hospital to go to the pathology department, to X-ray department separately, if the oncology department sets up its own pathology, its own X-ray department within the oncology department, so that becomes a cell within the broad contours of process layout. So that is called a cellular layout. So for example, if you see on this slide, there are some small cells, lathe milling machine. So broadly it's a process layout, but you have created small cells uh, of product layouts in this. So this becomes a cellular layout. So again another slide of cellular layout. So there are some machines, so 3 machines you have joined together, so it becomes a cell. So there are 3 triangles kind of things, so these are kind of cells, so which are connected. So you have to identify families of parts with similar flow paths, you have to group machines into cells based on part families, and you have to arrange cells so that the materials movement is minimized, and then you have to locate large shared machines at point of use. So for example, if you see in this slide, there are 3 similar kinds of machines, so you have grouped similar machines and there is one worker who is working on the 3 machines, so you need less labor also. So you have created cells within a broad contours of a product layout or process layout. So for example, if you have without group technology, this flow will look like a very jumbled flow, but here you have created cells within them, so you have removed the zigzag kind of routes, right? So therefore cellular layout has got advantages. It is reduced material handling requirements, there is a quicker response to quality problems and more efficient use of floor space. But yes, disadvantages, there will be some duplication of equipments, but overall it becomes very efficient in the broad contours of layout. So we will be talking about the other aspects. There is a fixed layout also, fixed position layout. For example, you are working on a metro line, you are working on a ship, so wherein all the paraphernalia, all the materials, machines, all kinds of infrastructure goes over there at fixed layout, and then you are doing, so that is called fixed layout. Large aeroplanes, large ships and other buildings, civil constructions follow a fixed layout. So I hope you have got a good idea about all the types of layouts. So we will be talking about the rest of the topics in our next series. So till then, goodbye. Thank you.